Hi there. Some of you wanted me to talk about something that was important to you, so I'm doing a series now on being in a relationship with a narcissistic person. And today's topic is 10 indicators that you are in a relationship with a narcissistic person. Of course. Hello. I'm Nachi Sinha, as you know. And today's video, we're going to talk about being in a relationship with a narcissistic person. We'll explore about 10 clear signs to indicate that your partner is narcissistic and that your relationship with them is toxic, and so it might be having a mentally detrimental impact on you. So before we go any further, let's sort of look at what the term narcissist means. Now, narcissists, to understand it a bit, kind of refer to somebody who are highly self-absorbed people, to an extent where they overlook caring about the people around them, and they want to be the center of attention and expect people to always be there for them. On the other hand, narcissists themselves will never regard people's feelings in their life, including parents, kids, or spouses, and so on. But narcissism is not really that rare. In fact, it's pretty common, and that's an important thing to understand. And today, we'll talk to you about the top 10 signs of somebody who does display those traits. And if you spot these signs in your relationship, you need to understand that your partner doesn't only like talking about themselves, but has narcissistic traits, which will only cause difficulty in the relationship. So let's look at these traits now. The first sign that comes out is that it's always about them. A typical narcissistic partner would sort of love to rave about themselves. They'll always talk about themselves, their passion, their work interest, and so on. And suppose you're with a partner who has nothing to talk about except for themselves. In that case, you've got to start thinking that is this person sort of a narcissist, and and there all seems to be a clear indication that doesn't seem to be quite inclined to talk about your ideas or your interests. You'll find that it's quite challenging to have a two-way conversation with such a person, and as they always like two things, and they only like two things, as a matter of fact. Like I mentioned earlier, they like talking about themselves, and secondly, it will send them over the moon, if you as a partner also talk about them and praise them. So if you notice these two things in your partner, it's a clear indicator that they are in that spectrum of narcissism. Moving on to the second thing that you might want to be aware of, second sign in these people. They tend to interrupt you frequently. It's a big turn-off for narcissists if the partner talk about anything that doesn't involve them. So to shift focus of the conversation back on themselves, they will interrupt the conversation and won't let the partner finish. So, these interruptions happen in other conditions as well, but the characteristic thing in this is that the interruption takes place and then the conversation becomes about them. So they'll use statements like, oh, this reminds me of when I did this, or do you know what happened to me in a similar situation, or let me tell you something here. And the worst thing about interruption is that they aren't even, apologetic about it. The narcissistic individual will cut the conversation and start speaking as if it's their right to do so. And moving on to something that also visible is and perhaps a third sign, as we could call it, is they're always nitpicking others. Now, narcissistic partners believe that they're the best and nobody can match the level of grandeur, and to make others see how great they are, they will try to bring down others by pointing out the flaws and mistakes that they notice in others. And they have this annoying habit of nitpicking and constantly preaching to people to be like them. So, for example, even when you're in the stages of dating, they will very sort of smoothly, point out the flaws in their partners, and after that, they will convince the partner to sort of overcome their flaws and be perfect like them. And this habit, though, is a bit dangerous because it sort of crushes the partner's confidence and may even induce an inferiority complex in the partner. The fourth sign of a narcissistic person which might be present is an indicator, of course, of that is they always present themselves as a hero or a victim. Now, a narcissistic person never calls or accepts themselves as a villain under any circumstance, but they will always show themselves either as a hero or the victim. For example, if they talk about their past relationships, they'll portray their exes as evil villains, I guess, and never talk about what they did wrong in the relationship. Similarly, if they share their achievements, they will glorify them and talk tirelessly about them for hours. So suppose you observe that your partner, a potential love interest, either loves playing the victim card or describing themselves as a hero. In that case, you need to be aware that there's a possibility that you're dealing with a partner who is in the narcissism, sort of side of things. The next one that I'd like to talk about, the next sign I'll talk about, is the fact that they lack empathy. Now, narcissistic partners are aloof to people's feelings and emotions. So if the partners talk about something that bothers them, or if they had a bad day at work, a narcissistic person wouldn't really care. Instead of empathizing with the partner, and cheering them up or sort of supporting them, they won't validate their feelings, and they'll make the partners feel like they are overreacting or acting immaturely. A person in a relationship, for example, with a narcissistic partner often feels alone because the partners are not interested in their feelings or problems. Moving on, talk about another sign that's important is it's easy for them to cut people out of their lives. Narcissistic people do not befriend or connect with people because of their personality traits. So the only reason they connect with someone is to talk about themselves and expect the other person to do the same, which is talk about them. So when a person doesn't talk about them or praise them unexpected, they cut ties with them. It's effortless for them to remove people from their lives. They don't feel any kind of emotional guilt or heaviness while doing so. It is a common characteristic of selfish people to sort of lack emotional growth, and they have a hard time being emotionally attached to the people in their lives. This takes us to the next sign that I want to talk about, which is they're concerned about their reputation. So, this is interesting. Because essentially everybody sort of has that feeling, but in this situation, it's almost to another end. For example, and I'll explain this. You'll see how it becomes clearer. Like a narcissist is always concerned about how people perceive them. And to establish a good reputation and earn praise from people, they won't hesitate to go the extra mile. So they need to make people think them as, in a positive way. For example, they'll give them expensive gifts, arrange for fine dinners, and try to impress their partners during the dating period. So the partners don't think of them as somebody who has poor taste or cheap. And the partner's happiness is not essentially to them. All they care about, though, is what people think of them. The eighth sign of being in a relationship with a narcissistic individual is, they are manipulative. So narcissists are quite charismatic, and people are attracted to them. It's quite a well-known fact by now. They love socializing and engaging with different people to charm them. So once people are attracted to them or take an interest in them, they'll gradually manipulate them. So if your partner happens to be a narcissist, you would have heard statements like, "Hey, can't you do this for me?" or "Don't you love me?" or "I've done so much for you." They'll make you feel guilty for not doing what they expect from you. So moving on to the next sign, they have a strong urge to control everyone. So a narcissistic partner believes that they're the best, and they have a strong and irresistible urge to control people. They would constantly instruct people to do things as they like. They also tell them that their methods of doing things are wrong. A narcissistic partner never listens, understands, or accepts different points of view or opinions. According to them, what they say and do is right. And that's where the line is drawn. The last point that I want to talk about today is point number 10, or sign number 10. They make you feel insecure. It's a very unhealthy trait to make someone feel insecure about things they have no control over. For example, pointing out physical flaws, comparing your partner to someone superior, or making them feel bad about their race, family, cultural background, so on and so forth. However, a narcissist, these things are common. After charming the partner, they will slowly come out of their shells and remind the partner about their surroundings. It badly shakes the confidence and self-esteem of the person. It also makes them feel that they're not good enough for their partner. So we've had a chance to talk about the 10, classic signs of a partner who's narcissistic. And if you spot these signs in your partner, if these raise any red flags for you, then there's a high chance that you are in an unhealthy relationship with a narcissist partner. In the coming videos, I will talk about how you can end the relationship with a narcissistic person before it becomes mentally exhausting. So make sure, you hang around and check it out. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video, and take care. And remember, when you're struggling or in doubt, reach out for help. Matters. Thank you.